Hello, I'm your guide, Mr. Nate, back with another fun outdoor lesson for you to try. And today, I've got some friends with me. This is my son, TJ, and our friend, Jenna. And they're gonna help me out with our lesson today. Because we're gonna be working close together today, we're gonna be wearing our masks most of the time, even though we're outside. If you see just one of us by ourselves, you might see us with our masks off, just so you can hear us better. But the rest of us will be no more than 6 feet away, and we're gonna have our masks on. These are really important things to remember, and we wanna be considerate of each other when we're out exploring together. If you're outside in nature by yourself, with the people that you live with in your family, it's usually okay to have your mask off, especially outside. If there are a lot of other people near you though, or you're out with friends or family that you don't live with, it's really best to keep your mask on. So we're finally getting into some fall weather. The days are getting shorter, the temperatures are getting cooler, and the leaves on a lot of the trees are starting to change color and fall to the ground, which is exactly the activity that we're gonna do today. We're gonna go on a leaf search. Now, there's gonna be two parts to this. First, we're gonna go pick out some interesting leaves at a local park, and we're gonna compare the shapes of the leaves that we find. Then, we're gonna take our leaves back home and do a super cool leaf print art project like this. Ready to give it a try? As we head off to start looking for leaves, we should talk about trees for a second. When it comes to trees, there are two big categories to talk about: deciduous trees and evergreen trees.
A deciduous tree is any tree that drops all its leaves in the fall and winter and then regrows new leaves again in the spring. A good example of a deciduous tree in Sacramento is a sycamore tree like this one here.
Evergreens are trees that keep their leaves on all year round. A good example of an evergreen is this redwood tree. Evergreen trees do drop leaves, but they drop old ones and grow new ones all year long.
Some evergreen trees, like this live oak, kind of look like they would be deciduous, but they always have leaves on their branches all year round. They just drop a few leaves at a time and grow new ones throughout the year. So let's go find some leaves. When you're looking for leaves, you want to choose ones that are not all dried out and crunchy, because those are going to be really hard to work with. So it's okay to pick a few green leaves that are still on a tree. I recommend getting 2 or 3 of each type of leaf so you have plenty to choose from. Just don't pick all your leaves from the same branch on the same tree. We use large Ziploc bags to collect our leaves to help keep them flat and to keep them from drying out. Now that we've got some leaves, we're gonna have a look at their shapes and at their edges. We're gonna use this leaf guide, which you can download from our website, to compare our leaf shapes and edges. Now, to help us describe what we see and to be able to share it with others, scientists sometimes have to create new words that we call terminology. So beneath all the different shapes on this chart, you're gonna see some funny looking words like lanceolate or deltoid or elliptic. These aren't words to be afraid of. They're just words that scientists use to describe what they see, and it's going to help us describe what we see. So don't worry about how to say the words. Some of them are kind of tricky. Just do the best you can. When you find a leaf that you like, you're going to take your leaf guide and compare your leaf to what you see on the guide. Try to choose the shape that looks most like the leaf you have. It doesn't have to be a perfect match, just close enough. But be sure you look at all the options on the list before you choose. So let's do an example together so you can see what I'm talking about. So here's a maple leaf that I found. I noticed that it has 3 main branches with deep indentations between each one. I can also see that there are 2 smaller branches down here. In fact, if I turn the leaf over and look at the veins that branch out from the stem right at the base, I can see there are 5 main branches. 5 main branches. Kind of reminds me of 5 fingers on a hand. So now I want to look at my list of leaf shapes. Some things we can get rid of right away, but there are a few that look like they might work. You have to look at all the options though. The one I see that really reminds me most of this leaf is this one right here. This shape is called palmate and resembles the shape of a hand. All right, let's go see what our friends Jenna and TJ found.
I chose this willow leaf, and I think its shape is subulate.
I found this cottonwood leaf, and I think its shape is deltoid.
Now, after you've chosen the best name for the shape of the leaf that you have, I want you to take a really close look at the edges of the leaf. Another word for edge that scientists use is called the margin. Are they smooth or are they rough? Do they have little points or maybe rounded shapes? Now we're going to compare what you see on your leaf to the chart of leaf edges here on the right-hand side. You're going to choose the edge that you think is the best match for your leaf. It doesn't have to be a perfect match, but you should look at all the options and see what looks best to you. So let's try an example together. I have this little sycamore leaf here, and I'm looking at the edges, and I can see that there are little sort of teeth-shaped points on it, and those teeth kind of tip over to one direction, so they look like little saw teeth. If I look at my chart, I see that I have an option that looks like little saw teeth that's called serrate. So that would be a good option, but I'm also noticing on the tips of each of these teeth that I have these pretty sharp little spines. So if I look on my chart, I also see that there's the word spiny, which I think probably describes it well too. So it could be that we have both serrate and spiny shapes on the edge of this particular leaf. Let's go see what our friends TJ and Jenna found.
I chose this oak leaf, and I think it has a lobate edge.
I chose this cottonwood leaf, and I think its edge is undulate.
All right, so we've explored some of the different shapes and edges that we can see on leaves. I'd like you to give it a try with the leaf shapes that you found. And maybe pick your favorite leaf and share your observation about its shapes and its edges with your teacher or your family. In our next video, we're going to take our leaves back home and get ready to do our leaf art project. So I'll see you right back here in just a minute.